Steve Dangle Podcast. Powered by Sports Interaction. Wanna bet?
The Steve Dangle Podcast. With your hosts, Steve Dangle, Adam Wilde, and Jesse Blake.
We have a big Nashville announcement for you, but first, one quick thing. I want to do a big shout out to somebody who is a longtime friend of the show who just got married.
Beyonce.
Jake and Smallwood.
That's right.
Jake and Smallwood got married.
Absolutely right.
I didn't want to take his Instagram pictures and throw them out all over. I know it's public, whatever, but I still feel a little icky about just taking his pictures without his permission, so I didn't.
No, I know.
But it
Just send him a
looked like
text.
it looked like a beautiful marriage and wedding, and I just want to say a big shout out to Jake and Smallwood.
Woo! He's all grown up.
He's always when we started talking about Jake and Smallwood, the guy's like 14, man.
He was a high school
and
student.
he's married.
Married.
This is crazy. So congrats to him. Now, after Monday's show, we're going to go home. We're going to get packed. We're going to get our passports ready because we are going to Nashville.
Woo!
Now
We're gonna pack morning of like DJ.
Yeah, Nash Vegas. That's right. We're not going to be down there for the NHL awards, but we will be down there for the draft. And there's a whole schedule and itinerary that Jesse has so lovingly put together. We are planned within an inch of our life. It'll be like going on vacation with your wife, Steve.
Yes.
There will be no free time.
It's
no fun play.
Oh my God.
So I think the best way to travel, this is a fun topic, because like the best way to travel is you have a plan of like, this is a perfect day, but if you don't get to it, it's whatever.
Okay.
So like the things that I've like listed out, they're all take it or leave it. Like if you don't get to something, it doesn't really matter. Like you can do the other thing and it's fine. Or if this thing's more fun, you do something else. Or if you spot something, that's more fun. Instead of just you go there and we wander, because we're there to shoot content. You know, it's not just to hang out, unfortunately.
Adam, do we think if we're running late for something, Jesse's going to be like, it's okay. We don't have to do it.
No, that's the idea.
I don't get that sense.
Yeah, no, that's the idea of how you play, how these things are planned. The things we have. I don't want to spoil anything. That's why I keep saying these things. But what we have planned out to shoot and have fun with, it's like, if we can't get to that one, that's okay because we can just go to the next.
Right. Yeah.
No, it's not going to be like, let's hurry the fuck up.
No, he's going to
He's
going to get quiet.
You know me.
And
I'm not like that.
He's going to get quiet.
No,
we're going to ask him what's
I don't
wrong.
know
And he's
why.
going to be like, nothing.
Nothing.
Nothing's wrong.
Hurry
I'm
up.
fine. Fine. I just put a lot of work into this and I just feel like you should. Anyway, sorry. Continue, Jesse. What do we have? And I know you can't talk about it all, but there are things that people need to know about like right now, right?
Yeah, so if you go to sdpn.ca/events right now and you click the little button that says Nashville on the events page, you'll hit up a link that is to purchase a maximum of 2 per person. General admission tickets to our live event happening next Wednesday at the Bodie Hotel. We're in the sidecar room, which is a nice little bar.
Ooh.
Yeah, so it's going to be a fun, intimate atmosphere. We're going to do a bit of a live show, mini live show. We'll have a bit of a
at the Bodie?
Well, we'll do 30 minutes. We'll talk.
We're going to be at the boat.
So we'll be at the Bodie Hotel in
Bodie-rooski.
Nashville, 2:30 local to 4:30 local. It'll be a 2-hour event, 2:30 p.m., whatever Nashville time. What is Nashville time? Eastern?
I think it's Central, isn't it?
1
Central?
hour difference.
Central time.
Okay, there you go. Central time. Central Nashville time, 2:30, live event next Wednesday. Join us. Bodie Hotel. Grab your tickets.
You had a call with them
Yes.
yesterday? How was the Bodie call?
That's not bad.
All right.
That's not bad.
Give it to him.
I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Maybe it's Bode.
No,
I think
Is the
no,
E
it's
silent?
Bodie.
it's spelled Bode,
Bodie.
but I prefer Bodie.
I like Bodie.
I like it too.
I assume it's Bode, but I like calling it Bodie.
I'm going to call it TJ's.
So yeah, tickets.
TJ Bodie.
Tickets are $5. Tickets are $5. So if you got $5 to spare to come to our event, please do. Right. I know we have a pretty strong Nashville contingent of SDP listeners. We're excited to see all you guys.
Yeah, it's going to be great. And we're also doing shows while we're down there. And I think, so we'll be doing the SDP that morning. So that should be out pretty quickly, right? Like we'll have that out.
Yeah.
Pre-draft show.
We're not going to miss. One thing is we're not going to miss an episode. So like Monday, Wednesday, Friday, if you need a show from us, that's when we'll be next week. Like we'll be back on the Thursday and we'll be back in here Friday recording again. And then we got free agency on July 1st, where you're going to get the specials that Adam's already mentioned.
And then that evening during the draft, a live stream.
Yeah, and then we briefly mentioned this last Wednesday, but we'll be on Twitch live during the draft as your sidecast screen. So if you want to watch the draft with us, you can on Twitch from Nashville. We will be. You might be if you're watching in Nashville.
You imagine they're in the building and they're watching us not in the building, but
I would do that.
I would love that.
Throw your AirPods on instead of listening to the fucking Gary.
we have a trade to announce. Everyone's still booing. You're going to want to hear this.
Still booing.
Oh, the Preds are involved. Oh, shit.
Listen, I'm never not excited about a trade, but I'm never not excited to do a little light booing. It's kind of a fun tradition at this point.
A little light
booing. So, we're really excited about this. It's going to be an exciting sort of few days, and we're obviously going to be shooting some content like true YouTubers when we're down there. So don't forget to smash that like button and subscribe. Tell all your friends.
Steve's going to crash a plane and jump out at the last second and then go to jail for 10 years.
I like that. I think
because that's what he wants to do.
Did that guy get jailed for 10 years?
He's, I think they're awaiting sentencing. But he's going to jail.
I'm going to go out on a limb, guys. Unpopular opinion. He shouldn't have done that.
You don't think so?
He shouldn't have done that.
I feel like maybe...
It was bad that he did that.
You think?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, God.
All right. Well, anyway, looking forward to seeing you in Nashville. It's going to be a fun time. Now, before we get to You Can Bet That with Dave, I did want to talk about this. The number 13th pick overall in the NBA draft. Remember I told you your homework to watch the NBA draft is Gradey motherfucking Dick, baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. We got him.
Mission accomplished. We did it. Now, if you don't know who this is or you missed last episode, Jesse, I've got a whole bunch of videos pulled. This guy is
Gradey Dick.
His name is Gradey Dick. He's from Kansas. He played at Kansas State. Was a phenomenal shooter. Like record-setting shooter. Now, he's not supposed to be like a Victor Wembanyama where you're like, this is a life-changing event draft pick, right? The Spurs got what is potentially the next guy to change the game of basketball, okay? But they did get a guy, the Raptors did get a guy who actually fits their system and their needs, and they usually are a team that just drafts for the best player available. So this is pretty cool. It's a good fit. Also, his fit is incredible. Have a look at the screen.
Look at that shit.
He said the inspiration behind this suit was because he is from Kansas and he played for Kansas. Dorothy wore sequin red shoes in Wizard of Oz when she clicked her heels together. There's no place like home. So he decided to go with that.
I see it.
Yeah. And
for those of you who don't get the reference, Dorothy was a member of Team Rocket from Pokemon animated series.
This guy is just, he just seems like a lot of fun.
We got a drip king on our roster.
We do. And he's, you know what, what I like about the NBA draft is how much fun it is. If you watched yesterday, somebody actually tweeted me and they're like, hey man, you know what? You were right. I did watch the NBA draft for the first time, and you should die on that hill.
ESPN,
this could be the NBA draft or the NHL draft. This could be
fucked up some of the broadcast. The last like 10 picks or so is chaos because they kept trading the picks, but the people who had the original picks would go up and draft.
That's always the thing that they do that.
All of the logos were, I don't know why they do it every single time.
They've always done that.
Just let the person who owns the pick now be the one doing the selecting. But it'll be like Boston selected this and Boston traded like 5 picks in the span of like 10 minutes. They kept moving down, then they got 2, and then they did the Kyle Dubas for like an hour.
Yeah.
And then they kept going up and you didn't know who was drafting who, and the guys are wearing the wrong caps because ESPN refuses to just do, hey, this team owns the pick now, and now they're selecting this
Didn't
kid.
Sacramento select like a Canadian guy and he was instantly traded to Boston?
Yeah, no, that was one of the Boston picks. Yeah, because they kept trading down and none of the picks belonged to anybody who was up there selecting. Awful.
There was, what wasn't it? It was like there was a high pick too, like a fairly high pick.
Yeah, it was like the middle of the first round.
Indiana was involved or something. Yeah, it's I don't understand that. That is probably the thing they do worst.
Yeah.
Yeah. Hey man, great moment. Hug your parents, cry. You've been traded.
Yeah.
Yeah, imagine
why
this is your moment you worked your whole life for, and then you put on the cap, and they're like, you know what, you're going to take this photo, but that's not the team you're going to.
Well,
that's the wrong cap.
I remember when, because I've been watching the NBA draft for a long time. I remember when the NBA draft was on The Score. And the Raptors had I think it was the 15th overall pick, and they grabbed a guy named Antoine Jameson and immediately traded him for Vince Carter. And the trade happened before the pick happened. But they still needed, or Golden State needed to make the pick, or we needed to make the pick, whatever it was. And so both players stood on stage and smiled and traded baseball caps.
Yeah, there's a really good photo of Carter and Jameson together.
Yeah. Carter and
Why?
Jameis.
Like, why?
Here it is. I got it here.
It does happen in the NHL, but it's extremely rare.
You see?
Yeah, so this infamous moment where they each got selected by the other team and then they traded caps because the picks had already been swapped.
Yeah, so Vince wasn't even drafted by the Raptors. He was drafted by it was Golden State.
Yeah.
What the fuck?
I know. And that's that old shitty Warriors logo. Terrible. That's when they were like just a non-team. But that, by the way, the style for the time, those guys look, even back then, looking sharp.
Baggy suits.
But that's what was in.
Yes.
Right? The big lapels, the baggy suits, the colorful like dad tie. But the NBA has always had the style thing down. The NHL's got like the young players in the NHL dress really well now. I would love to see a little bit more of that flash in the NHL draft, because if you saw the NBA draft last week, you're going to see the NHL one next week. Compare and contrast, and you tell me which show is a better show.
The style was we're definitely not three kids in a trench coat stacked on top of each other. That was the style at the time.
The baggy suits weren't the greatest.
Apparently, I think somebody took a picture of Victor Wembanyama like from the side, and they're like, "Tell me this isn't three people." Like it was just because he's so 7'4".
That's an enormous human being.
Yeah, and I was reading some like draft breakdowns, and they're like, yeah, he scored like an outrageous amount of points, but what's crazy is he's better at defense than he is at offense.
Yeah.
Like what?
And then you look at him, and that's not crazy at all.
No, it's not. I guess
the reason he's gonna be good right away is because he's gonna get like 7 blocks a game immediately first day in the NBA.
Yeah,
by accident.
Yeah, by accident, just because he's so big, his limbs are just too long.
Put your hands up. Good job.
This is the infamous baggy suit 2003 draft photo. So this is probably the greatest draft in NBA history. It was with LeBron and Melo and D Wade, and they all had the biggest suits in the world.
Now, Jesse, can you zoom in on their feet? And Maddie's saying the same thing I am. So here's what I remember, because I remember these years and wearing baggy pants and stuff. And what happened to your jeans when you wore them like that?
You fucked them up.
You frayed the shit out of them. But people wore suits like that all the time. And I'm like, how did you not fuck your suit up? How'd you, like, these are expensive suits that you guys are wearing. LeBron with his white suit, I love.
Yeah.
But like, you're messing them up.
You know what?
You gotta have them a little higher.
Adam, whatever, Dad. I don't need you telling me what to do with my Rockaware jeans. All right? I don't need you to tell me what I do with my Carl Kanai pants with the big metal K on the ass that would scratch up all my friends' wooden chairs.
There you go.
And get their parents very upset with me.
I can't believe you had jeans with metal on them.
Me too.
That's hilarious.
You guys were Exco?
Oh, yeah.
I loved Rocket Exco.
You go grab that at Stitches, the hot spot.
Yeah, Stitches all the time.
Spot. Yeah.
I used to wear Echo shirts with Exco shirts with Fila shoes. Fila high tops.
Fat Farm?
Fat Farm was, I never owned Fat Farm.
I had lugs.
I had a couple.
Do you remember lugs?
I
The
do
big,
remember
they were
lugs.
like
Yes.
the Timberland, but
pretty.
light.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
I had lugs.
What was the Averex?
Averex was a
Yeah.
big
I don't
one.
know that one.
See, I didn't get into that stuff too much because I was going for the border look, right? So I was like Quicksilver and Billabong.
Bill-
You're
Billabong.
metal.
Yeah.
Oh, you're a heavy
It
metal.
was like punk and then heavy metal. Yeah, that's what I got in. Yeah.
You're a leather pants guy.
That's right. I was later in high school. I was. I'm not even afraid of it. I did wear
Long
leather pants.
hair. You got a lot of emotion.
Yeah. I just want to party, babe. Just want to party. No, I didn't have
I'm gonna
like we
drink
didn't have,
alone under the bridge.
we weren't goths.
He wasn't alone.
We were not goths.
I was there.
Remember the goth kids in South Park?
Yes,
Is
we
that
were not
Adam?
those guys.
Oh, you're not that. Okay.
No, we were the. I don't know if you remember this, an old South Park, but it's like, please welcome to the South Park Auditorium, and it's like for a kid's dance. It's like Ronnie James Dio, and then he goes into Ronnie James Dio was the other singer of Black Sabbath, other than Ozzy.
Okay.
And like
that's a deep cut.
we were.
You gotta explain.
We were 80s metal, 80s like hair metal. That's what we were doing, and it was terrible, but it was great.
Like Kiss, Gene
like
Simmons.
Kiss, like Motley Crue, Van Halen, that sort of thing. That's what we kind of. That was our
Kiss,
area.
like you're so cool.
To reiterate, this was Adam and like 5 other guys.
Yeah, it wasn't just me. It wasn't just me. There were other people that believed this
Out of
too.
a school of like 1,100.
Whatever. We were our own thing, man. We were our own scene. Our school.
They were the scene. Yeah.
Our school had like a huge like punk group too, and those guys, some of their fucking mohawks. One of them had a bihawk, like two. One of their guys, like mohawks. They one of the teachers measured it, and it was like 2 feet at one point. It was huge, and he would have to duck to get under doors. And like I remember asking him, like, how do you even do that? And he's like, you have to use glue. You have to literally, there's like hair glue.
Oh, okay.
Specific, but you buy
Not
glue.
Elmer's.
No, but they would like buy shitty glue and like they would glue their hair up.
What is the night and the morning like? That's all I need.
You got to wake up early.
But like, what if you like? Okay, if you go to a party, you sleep over at a friend's house. You just got to sleep that way.
Sleep on your side,
I guess.
right? It's like having like a tail fin. You know?
No, I had a bad dream and my hair snapped. I rolled over funny and my hair snapped. It sounded like breaking a plastic chair.
Jesse, who was your most listened to artist in high school?
In high school, definitely. I can't say this, but it was Kanye. Easily.
Kanye?
Yeah.
You can say that. Kanye was cool in high school.
Yeah. And then he went. bad.
And then he went the way he went. But well, like
Definitely Kanye.
Jesse, you know Pete Davidson's joke, make Kanye 2006 again?
Yeah.
How old were you in high school?
About that. Yeah.
you were you not on like Kanye West forums and stuff too?
Yeah, I used to. I spent my entire childhood on a website called Kanye Tilla. It's a it's a forum. It was started out as a forum for Kanye West fans, and then the music portion of the forum got so big that it expanded to other artists. So like there was a Drake section and a Weekend section, and that's where I followed like the Weekend's career pre like House of Balloons and stuff. He used
So like when he was singing at Young and Dundas?
Yeah. So I've like seen him in like a venue of like 40 people. Because like I was on that because of Kanye Tilla because it was like they're super into underground hip hop and R&B and stuff like that. So like I was super early on artists and all that stuff growing up.
Steve,
Because that website.
your most listened to artist in high school?
Oh man. Okay. So it was a lot of rap to start, but then at the end, because you got to remember when you're 13 or 14, you're an asshole. And my dad,
you have no empathy.
my dad was like, I'm a rocker, I'm a metal guy. And I was like, cool, I'm whatever the fucking opposite of that is because I'm 13 or 14.
I was more like your dad then.
Yeah, well, exactly. So by the end of high school, though, I was like, hey, man, you guys know Blink-182?
No.
And you're all like, yeah, you fucking idiot. So I was listening at the end of high school to all the stuff I should have been listening to in like grade 6 and 7.
Yeah, but your knowledge of hip hop from 2002 to 2006 is unmatched.
A very specific range.
He knows
Ludacris.
every word to every Ludacris song.
Ludacris,
Everyone.
which disgusts Jesse very much.
I love Ludacris.
It's not the best era of hip hop.
No, it's not.
No.
It's like one of the worst.
It's
if you're
so
ranking
bad it's
it.
good though, right? It's terrible.
Yeah,
Like
there's
like
great party songs in there.
oh yeah.
Incredible
Yeah.
party song. Like the debut of Rihanna was like high school for us.
Yes, it was. I remember that.
Yeah, the debut of Rihanna was pretty cool. I've told the story 1,000 times, but it's been a long time. So if you're a new listener, here you go. You were talking about seeing, who was it, The Weeknd? In a venue of like 40 people. Some guy, we were on a school trip in New York in 2004, 2005. And there was this dude like accosting all of my classmates, rushing them to buy his CD. That was just like burned clearly off like his own desktop computer. And I bought one and it was Papoose,
Nice.
Oh, I remember that.
who's like, he's famous now.
Yeah, he had a song with Jay-Z.
And the Pussycat Dolls and like he's on TV and shit.
Yeah, I remember that.
And I don't still have it, but it was like $5 or $10. Bought it off him off the street.
That's cool. That's pretty cool. That's a good story.
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah. Mine was Van Halen. Still is. Love them. But I remember, I don't know if I've told this story on the podcast before, but I remember they reunited with their original lead singer in 2007 for the first time in like 30 years, right? They broke up in 1985, got a new lead singer. I wasn't a big fan of the Van Hagar era, so his name was Sammy Hagar. But they reunited with David Lee Roth, and I go with a couple of my buddies who I'd been in bands with. They're both named Al and Alex. You know them.
Yes.
And my mom wanted to go because she was a rock DJ in the early 80s at a station called CJ92 in Calgary. And she did the morning show and did traffic and stuff. And so we went out and had like, this is when I was at my like drunk and stupidest, but we went out and had a pretty chill day, like my buddies and I beforehand, because we wanted to make sure that we weren't like hammered to see this show because it was going to be Like Van Halen were in town and they reunited. This is crazy.
You wanted to remember it?
Yeah. My mom goes out with her boss, and her boss, Rob, is a party animal, loves like Kiss and that whole era and everything, and gets her drunk. And so all four of us are sitting together, and I didn't really know that my mother was drinking, and she never drinks. So I'm sitting there, and the lights go out, and the first kind of chords for You Really Got Me start playing, and I hear everybody's like, woo, and I hear beside me, yeah! I was like, I look over, it's my mother. And then later on, they have a song called Hot for Teacher, and the drummer Alex Van Halen is like one of the best rock drummers ever, and it's this crazy offbeat sort of double kick drum thing. And then Eddie comes in, and it's like a full guitar shred session for like 30 seconds. Everybody in the crowd is doing some sort of air guitar for this. It's like, and I look over, and my mom is just fucking back, like her back is out. She's like, woo! And then as soon as the song actually kicks in, she's fucking high-fiving people around her. It was, my mother was the highlight of the Van Halen concert.
Yo,
and it was a culmination of high school for me.
Someone was like, last night I partied with the drunkest Marilyn Dennis.
Yeah.
The drunkest.
This is before social media, so none of that was caught. But man, it was funny. Anyway, let's talk to Dave, and then let's get into some hockey stuff, because there was a lot yesterday. There's a lot to tackle, and we'll get into You Could Bet That now. And then, of course, all the Bettman stuff, the Calgary stuff, Panarin, some crazy stories coming out, and we'll get into that next.
You Can Bet That with David Bastel. Brought to you by Sports Interaction. Get in the action and make a play. 19 plus. Please play responsibly.
So we've been talking about the draft, the various things that you can bet on with the draft, obviously coming up, and then free agency will happen after that. We're going to talk a little bit more about that Monday with Dave. But first, Dave, I think today we need to talk about content creators.
Okay.
We need to talk about what Sports Interaction has going on right now. If you want to be a content creator, if you want to be somebody who's making sports content online, Sports Interaction has something for you.
That's exactly it. And we should add too, because a lot of people say, oh, Sports Interaction, betting content automatically. It's like, yeah, we do a lot of that, but we do a lot of sports content, just general stuff, top 5 lists, what would you do in this situation list, who should be traded, who shouldn't be traded, just anything sports related. So what we've done is when we've opened up to anybody of legal age, that's key, that is interested in producing content for Sports Interaction. It's actually a paid job. We're not just doing a gimmick where it's like
Like a job.
You get to intern.
Oh no!
and
You get to be Dave's assistant. Dave, what do you take in your coffee?
Hey, kids want some
exactly it.
exposure?
And my car needs a good washing.
Yeah,
doesn't
that's
it?
right.
Oh no! Pull this. Take it down.
Okay, so this is great, man. So how do you enter? What are you guys looking for?
Yeah, well, right now we're looking for 1 minute submissions, and you send it into our Twitter account or our Instagram account, whichever one you want. Tell us a little bit about yourself. Tell us kind of quickly why you'd be good for this position, and give us a quick take on sports. You have to have that passion for sports, just like the three of you. Love it, say it, express it. Keep it short, keep it tight. We love clever edits as well. You guys know how these things work. People these days, as far as learning how to edit, it's no longer just a video that just kind of sits there like this and there's nothing on the screen. I want explosions. I want an Arnold Schwarzenegger movie of the 90s.
Yeah.
I want something good, something that's going to grab up and say, hey, you know what? I want this gig. It's a part-time job that could lead to more, depending on how great the candidate or candidates are. And I should mention this as well. A lot of times when we throw something out like this, because we had pretty good success last time we did it, a lot of males will apply. Everybody is welcome. I want to see females. I want to see males. I want to see all ages. I want to see, well, legal, of course.
Legal ages,
And I want to see creative genius at its best when it comes to sports content, and then we'll take it from there. There could be more than one winner. I should say that as well. I'm not just looking for one. If it's just like you guys, if you guys find 5 people that are great, you'll hire 5 people.
Yep.
If it's 3, it's 3. If it's 1, well, I guess it's going to be 1. But check it out. It's on our news.sportsinteraction.com website. It's also on our Twitter page right now, just like the details of the contest. Click on the link. There's a fine looking video from a fine looking gentleman.
Is he handsome and is he wearing a golf shirt?
But I didn't make a video.
This time he's wearing a t-shirt. But yes, next time, Steve, you're gonna have to do this to even boost it even more.
Okay.
Check it out. A lot of fun. And we're also targeting universities and colleges as well, because as you guys know, there's a lot of broadcast schools out there, and so we're open to their submissions as well. Anybody is welcome, and I look forward to checking it out, and our panel will decide who actually advances to round number 2.
So, Dave, I think my question, and I think a lot of people would wonder this if I was listening to this, I'd want to know, do I need to be a multi-sport person, or can I just focus on one sport? I remember when there was a broadcast company who shall remain nameless that used to do like a draft. And I always wondered, like, I applied for it a few times, and I wondered, like, do I need to know everything about every sport, or do I need to, should I specialize? What are your thoughts?
You know what? Not at all. If soccer is your sport, if football is your sport, hockey, go for it. If you know more than one, that's fine too. As you guys know, the more you know, the more you know. I'm not looking for an expert. I'm looking for somebody that has a pretty cool opinion. And remember, opinions don't have to be right. Occasionally, I've had an opinion that may not be agreed with, and you know what? It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. It'd be kind of boring if we all thought the same and like the same and like the only sport that, you know, whatever it was. But you know what? If you know more than one, great. If golf's your thing and that's it, then you know what? We have a pretty good opening for a pretty cool golf creator, and that's kind of how it works. Submissions, by the way, July 31st. So you got about a 5-week period.
That's good.
You know, some days, you know, and you guys know this, you could work at it for a couple hours and have it done.
Yeah,
but,
no, or you pull a Steve Dangle and you hand it in on the 31st at like 11:59. Yeah.
Oh, you mean before the deadline? Sounds good.
11:59 is still before. Yeah, no, it's on time.
What am I going to do with that other minute? All this leisure time.
And last thing, Dave, you were mentioning all the sports content that Sports Interaction has off the top when you're talking about this. And you didn't even mention you do a podcast with John Gibbons, former Blue Jays manager.
Yeah.
Like, well, that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. John, I used to cover the Jays on a beat basis when John was the manager the second time around. We've always had a pretty good rapport, and thank you for mentioning it. Comes out Wednesdays and Fridays. And yeah, he's been a lot of fun. And there's a lot of people in Toronto, I don't know about you guys, but a lot of people in Toronto just love Gibby just because Gibby is Gibby.
Yeah.
You have the Gibbyisms, and he's kind of like that fun uncle.
Yes.
You know, and you know, we've had a pretty good time. I wish we could talk about more successes with the Blue Jays so far, because it's been like, you know, but there's still time. Still half a season left. But thanks for mentioning that.
We also know that you got that new show with Emily Savard and Luke Gazdick too. So that's pretty cool. Happy to see Luke and Emily doing well. And that's awesome. So have a look for it. Again, where can you enter? If the submission deadline is July 31st, on July 31st at 11:59 p.m., where am I looking?
You're looking at our News Insights website. So it's news.sportsinteraction.com. There's a menu of things that you could see, from previews to predictions to just articles and stuff. There will be an article in there. But right now, if you're watching this in the next couple of days on our Twitter account, I'm going to pin that to the top of our Twitter account, and you can check out everything there. Jump on it sooner than later. Don't be Steve in this situation. Although I'm kind of more like a Steve than an early bird anyway. I got to admit that.
Yeah.
But nonetheless, it's pretty straightforward, pretty simple, and you know, hit it out of the ballpark. Here's your chance.
Dave, thank you so much, and we will talk Monday draft odds, Nashville Wednesday, and then Friday we're talking free agency, sir.
Yeah, it's going to be a lot of fun. Good week ahead.
All right, now you've been all June. We've been talking about the Get Real movement. It is Pride Month, and part of what we have to do is our virtual 5K, which involved Steve using he named this kayak the HMCS Fuck Adam. It's actually outside in my truck right now. I've been driving around with it for like 2 weeks.
Yeah, if you're in Toronto and you see a guy with a kayak hanging out the back of his truck,
Yellow kayak.
just driving around Toronto, that's Adam.
That's me.
For the last like 2 weeks.
Yeah. So anyway, we took it down to Woodbine Beach and shot a video. Jesse, are we ready to play some of this?
Yeah. I mean, I haven't seen this.
Okay.
So Drew edited it and he sent it to us. So let's watch. I hope it's good.
Welcome to our virtual 5K for the Get Real movement. Yeah. All right. So today, Jesse will be
running in hockey equipment.
That's right. And Steve will be
kayaking on the windiest day ever.
And I said, if we beat our goal of $2,500, I would run in my Devil's PJs. Woo! Will I keep to that? Who knows? I've got the jersey on, but what's underneath? You'll find out.
What is underneath?
Now, we got a really windy day. And so, for an inexperienced kayaker like Steve, we're kind of wondering how it's going to work. We actually have whitecap swells on Lake Ontario right now. How are you feeling about it?
Well, the good news, I was given a lot of confidence by all the other kayakers in the water. There's none.
There's no kayakers.
It's windsurfers and no one else.
So we're going to try Steve's first and see how that goes.
Holy shit! Yeah, you're not getting this. You're not getting this microphone back.
We had to push him in.
Oh my God!
Do we reveal how it went?
No,
or do we make people watch the video?
No, guess what happens next is the best. There's no way we can reveal that. Like, we got to let the video drop.
Maddie, put up the still of Steve.
No, it was a great day. We were all very dry.
Now, we didn't white balance the camera enough, so it's actually kind of good because...
No, it'll look a lot better. That's the TV.
It looks
that's
worse
TV.
on...
Yeah, it looks...
Oh, it looks worse.
If you see it
it
over
looks
here.
great on the screen.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm just going to say...
No, the cameras look great.
Even with that, you can't see the surprise coming.
No one can guess.
No one could guess.
No. You did it. I won't even.
No.
It's good. So, Jesse...
So then, you did your pajamas and I did the hockey gear. That's all in the video as well. So check it out on our YouTube channel right now.
Now, our original funding goal for Get Real was what?
$2,500.
Okay, and where did we end up?
The listeners of the show raised $3,370.
Incredible.
And our original goal was actually Get Real's goal because their goal was just $2,500. We're like, we could beat that.
Yeah.
So that's what we set our goal at. So then they ended up raising their goal to $7,500, which they didn't get to. But we are going to commit to topping up the rest of the funding. So they got around $5,000, or they're a little short. So we're going to contribute the last $2,500.
Love it.
To that.
Love it.
That'll be on top of some of the merch sales that will also be donated, or all of the merch sales from this month that will also be donating to Get Real. So yeah, they've reached their goal. Thanks to you. We really appreciate it. Enjoy Steve kayaking.
Really well.
There's other stuff too. Like, we all actually ran and everything.
Yeah, we actually
there's definitely stuff. And we got some looks on the boardwalk. There's no question. But I can't. Steve, I think, is the highlight.
I left it all out there.
Oh, look at that shot.
Look at this.
That's a good shot.
Oh no, Adam.
Woo!
Oh
yeah.
God, you're hot.
No.
No, not him.
Whoa!
Don't spoil it.
You know how little of us running?
No. I don't want to see it.
You look great.
Oh God.
Oh, look at this.
They're running away from us. They're running away.
Look at these guys.
So I'm wearing a life jacket and paddle. Jesse's got hockey equipment, and Adam appears to be carrying a barrel.
Excuse me.
Sorry, you're right.
No, it's fine.
That is the pot calling the kettle.
Cool.
A barrel.
Let's do 10. I think it accentuates the best part of my brain, frankly. Listen, if you're gonna have it, you better own it.
You own the shit out of that, bro.
I think. You know what? Listen, I feel very good.
This
about
is it.
I feel good about
This is the shot.
Thanks, buddy.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh,
Look at the athleticism. Look at the arm pumps. Oh, yeah. It's good. Also, we interrupted a couple that were making out on the boardwalk.
They were actively making out.
Yeah.
Because they saw you and they're like, oh, now I'm in the mood.
Yeah. Ooh, is that a hairy tummy?
This is bringing out the devil in me.
Oh,
Yeah, because they saw the devils.
hey.
Yeah.
I like that.
As
I
my
like that.
friend Ton once said, Adam, you are a legend.
Oh, that's nice. I love Ton. Jesse's friend Ton is is a troublemaker, and he's the kind of guy that if he says, "Hey, you want to fuddle a beer?" You're like, Ton asked me. I'm gonna have to say yes to
I gotta
that.
go shotgun in the shower.
All right. So Jesse, I sent you a picture, and this is unfortunately where we have to take a turn because the NHL made some announcements yesterday. Gary Bettman talked to the Board of Governors, talked to the press, and when Gary speaks, hockey weeps. And so I want to start by, I want you to just bring this up on camera if you can.
Okay, give me 1 second. All right.
What do we see?
A rainbow. Someone standing under a rainbow.
Double rainbow and supernumerary rainbow. There's like names of rainbows.
Yeah.
On the inside of the primary arc. We see a woman standing in front of two rainbows.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
Pretty cool. Would you qualify that as scary?
Terrifying.
Okay. Do you think if you were to take a rainbow and put it on your jersey,
Yes.
that it would then become scary?
I don't think that.
Right. Do you think that,
James Reimer might.
yes. Do you think that it would be too much for you to step outside of your supposed comfort zone to do this? Because the NHL has gone and taken away not just Pride warm-up jerseys, but also Aboriginal, Hockey Fights Cancer, and Military Appreciation Nights.
St. Patrick's Day.
St. Patrick, yeah.
All of it.
All of it. Now, doesn't mean that those jerseys won't exist. Doesn't mean that players, to quote Gary Bettman, who are comfortable, won't wear them, and then they will be put up for auction later, because those nights will still happen. But to quote Gary Bettman, the efforts of Pride Nights have become undermined by the jerseys. The Pride Night will remain, but the jerseys become a distraction. Now, the jersey will still be sold. You'll still be able to buy it. You know, the Flames, I think, had the best one. I think that was absolutely the best one.
Really good.
This is part of what he said, so we're going to get into the rest of what he said, but I want to start here because I think there were 6 players total that refused to wear them. And Brian Burke went on Hockey Night in Canada and said, hey, there's only like 6 guys here that have stepped out. He's like, the rest of them are wearing it and support it and want people at the arena. And I think he was absolutely right in saying that, and absolutely exactly what you want a leader within the sport, which Brian Burke is, to come out and say. Let's focus on the good here. But the NHL...
Let's focus on the good. No. Let's get rid of all of it.
The
Get rid
NHL
of all the good.
let 6 guys who are uncomfortable with it determine their entire policy, not just with Pride, but everything else going forward. And here's what it is. It's the easy way out. And it was predictable. I mean, nobody, if you've been paying attention to the NHL, really, nobody should be surprised by this. This is a league that, in the summer of 2020, when Giannis Antetokounmpo was like, I don't even think we should play tonight because of what was going on socially with that specific moment in the Black Lives Matter movement. The NHL was like, they didn't know what to do. And so the fact that this is happening, I think most of us probably could have called this happening, but it's just, I find it fascinating that 6 players are able to change the entire policy for the league. And it's not just Pride, it's everybody. Now we're gone. We're doing away with it. Yeah.
The league has no backbone.
Well, and it's like, okay, so I understand going, okay, we got to look at this. We got to see how we can make this better. But the reality of the situation is they're doing it to protect those 6 players and anybody else who believes the same things they do, which is unquestionably the minority of the league. They are doing this to protect people who have viewpoints that are like, well, It's funny because they won't wear the jersey. The jersey's not about, hey, you're gay now because you wore the jersey, or hey, I think everybody should be gay now. It's literally, you're welcome at the arena. We want you as a part of the game. We want you to buy tickets and cheer on the team and be a part of things just like everybody else. That's all it is.
Well,
that's all it is. And six players got to be the ones to say no. And Gary said, you know what? They got a good point.
Well, Adam, I think it's important not to overreact here because this isn't the first time this has happened. Do you remember in 2011 when someone said, I don't really believe in the Irish, so I'm not wearing the St. Patrick's Day jersey. Do you remember that?
I don't remember that.
You don't?
That they don't.
I don't know if that.
I don't believe the Irish exist.
You don't remember that happened?
No.
It's just my religion is
fantasy.
against the concept of the Irish.
Was it a Scottish person who said this? Was it SL?
Must have been a Scottish
who
Protestant.
said it.
Was it your wife?
Yeah, it's just I'm not against the Irish. It's just my religion. Just please respect that.
Right.
I can't
stand them in their deep culture and their happy songs.
Yeah.
Right.
I can't do it. No one did it for that shit.
No one did it for military.
No one
night?
did it for any of the other ones. Like I was saying this before the show. Regardless of where you align on being a bigot or not, hockey fights cancer. We're getting rid of the hockey fights cancer jersey.
Well, we're not.
So
We're not getting rid of it.
Gary would say we're not getting rid of it. We're just not wearing them during game warm-up.
6 1/2 Like it adds to the value of these jerseys that they're worn in the warm-up. Like, not a player throwing it on and taking it off. The Toronto Maple Leafs Indigenous Night jerseys, I bid on 2 of them. Dude, Dryden Hunt and Wayne Simmons, I don't know if either guy actually played in the game. I know at least one of them did not. Dryden Hunt and Wayne Simmons didn't play the night that those jerseys were worn. Over $1,000, right?
That's awesome.
So, it's awesome, and it was awesome, Jesse. It is not continuing to be awesome. It was awesome because it's fucking gone.
A lot of the purpose of the jerseys is to bring awareness. It's when you're in the arena. It looks cool pregame warm-up. You know that you're welcome, all that stuff. It looks great on social media, but it's also to auction them off afterwards and raise money for these causes. And it adds value to the donations and it raises the prices when guys actually wear them on the ice. And the fact that they took this away, they're taking away money from these organizations and these charities.
Do you know how much Pride Month raised for these Pride jerseys raised?
How much?
No.
According to the NHL at NHL.com. And I want to shout out Dave Felsberg for who's a young and up-and-coming reporter for DMing me this specific article. More than $785,000 were raised by NHL teams to benefit local LGBTQ plus organizations. And that is from June 1st, 2022.
And that's just the Pride jerseys, right? That's not like how much cancer research money they raised. You got that one?
I got that.
There you go.
It's Mitchie Marnie did a screenshot of 2021 and 2022. The Leafs alone, 23,500 and 17,800. So, are the NHL teams ponying up to make up the difference?
No, I think they're still gonna. Oh yeah, the raffle. And here's the thing: Gary said, and I did say this before, but I think it bears repeating, that I'm sure that what'll likely happen is that you're gonna see players wearing these, but just not on the ice. So they'll take a picture, they'll throw it up on Instagram. It'll be
like a handful of guys.
Yeah,
they'll get the social media person to get the 5 guys that are willing to do this and throw on the jersey and take a picture, and then they'll auction off all of them afterwards. But the guys who didn't want to have to wear it, they don't have to wear it.
The Calgary Flames tweeted on April 7th, "Thanks to you, over the last month, we have set 2 New Jersey auction records. Our Indigenous Celebration and Pride warm-up jerseys are now our most successful jersey auctions ever, with over $100,000 raised." And again, it's for local communities, not for a national charity. These all benefit local. Yeah.
That Mitch Marner jersey that you're bidding on means more if you wore it in a warm-up.
I think
as opposed to he just took a picture with it after. Or
I think that was the
beforehand.
draw, right? It saw NHL ice. They also look great. And I think, as Steve said, it's sort of like it's like one kid misbehaves and we've taken all the toys away from every kid.
No recess.
Right? I mean, that's a bad thing, but it's summary, what do they call that? Summary judgment or summary punishment. It's one of those where it's like one person does one thing bad, so we punish them all. And I can't imagine that the people behind the military nights, hockey fights cancer, Indigenous visibility nights, however they are named in your local team, I can't imagine they're thrilled about this either. And I think it's such an easy win for the NHL. And listen, I think we were going to get to the point where people were accepting that just certain NHL players were not going to participate in the Pride Night. I think we were getting there this spring. It was obviously with Provorov, that was the first. And then the Stalls, denying that they wore Pride jerseys. Both of them did in Montreal. Eric did. Okay, we were going to get to the point where it's like, okay, listen, I don't fucking like it, but there are going to be people that are not going to do this. Ilya Samsonov was one of them.
Was Eric Stahl Christian in 2021?
Yes, I would assume.
Oh, okay.
Well, and
so like if it feels like things are going backwards, I think it might be because they are, honestly. And that's the dark part of it. He wore the fucking thing in 2021. He didn't wear it in 2023, and all of a sudden it was this big fucking stance. Where was it in 2021? He didn't have an answer for why he wore it in 2021. His answer was, I didn't wear it.
And then was never followed up on that.
No.
Yeah, that was just never folled up on.
No one's asked him about it since.
They in that scrum they said there's video of you wearing it, and he's like, no, I didn't wear it.
No, don't believe the evidence of your eyes and ears.
But Eric, we're all watching you wear it. No, I didn't. How do you come back to that? Somebody's just denying the truth.
I mean, it's just there's I love hockey. A lot of people had the sentiment of best sport, worst league. And I think you're right. I think it's the best sport. It is the worst goddamn league. Well, it stinks.
And the thing is that just like with concussions, like with this,
that doesn't exist either, by the way.
Yeah, no. So remember, according to the NHL, concussions don't lead to CTE. Gary is probably in the last 4 years of his run as commissioner. And the easy thing, well, he's got 4 years left on his deal. I'm assuming he's retiring at the end of it. If he doesn't, I'd be like, bro, don't you want to retire? And you're in your 70s. But anyway, what's easier for somebody in his position to do, and you see this in business all the time when older people are running organizations, rather than modernize and get with the times, the easier thing to do is kick the can down the road and let the next guy handle it. And I think that's what's happening. I think he's going, I'm not going to handle the CTE stuff. It's not going to be on my record. I'm not going to handle the Pride Month stuff. That's not going to be on my record. I'm definitely not going to properly handle the Arizona Coyote stuff. That's not going to be on my record. What I want you to remember about myself is I nominated myself to the Hall of Fame. I brought the owners unprecedented money in franchise value because of the franchise tags when we expanded the league. And I brought the owners the triple salary cap, the triple hard salary cap. That's what I want to be known for.
I got a 5-year extension that wasn't announced because the timing was fucking abhorrent.
Well, say it one more time. What happened?
Basically, as soon as the Kyle Beach settlement was dealt with, he got a 5-year extension.
No, it was that week.
Yeah.
So when Kyle Beach, when Rick Westhead did that, did the interview with Kyle on TSN, that same week, the owners voted to extend Gary Bettman for 5 years.
Yeah.
And it's, again, listen, you could talk about how you don't want political this or political that. I'm sorry. If you don't think sports are political, you haven't been paying attention. Sports have been political.
The last 100 years of sports.
100 years?
Yeah.
Thousands of years. Yeah. You know that? Yeah, I'm telling you. Listen, I just finished.
Well, Adam, let's go back to the Romans.
You want to history corner?
I'm talking about modern day.
Did you know that Roman emperors used to have to align themselves with various chariot racing factions?
What does that?
4 of them.
What does that have to do with an offside?
I'm saying that sports are political. They are. Stop saying they're not. Get out of here.
And there was a YouTuber back then where there was like, we have the technology to get these finishes right. Why aren't we using them? It's
Roman
unacceptable.
YouTube?
I just think I think that's relevant, is it not?
Next year, they're going to implement chariot tracking technology.
They should.
Oh, nice.
Listen, a good chariot race used to attract 90,000 people.
Wow. Yep.
There you go.
So not as much as the Dallas Cowboys, am I right, America?
It's a thing that, yes, was a distraction, but for good reason. Sometimes distractions are a good thing. Sometimes distractions bring attention to social change that has not occurred yet, and the active implementation of laws and customs that exclude certain people based on how they were born. And I think that the fact that the Pride jerseys were a distraction is actually a good thing. It brought people to the issue. It grabs you by the nose and says, you can't ignore this. Mm-hmm. And I'm listen, I'm perpetually disappointed in the way the NHL is run on social issues. I think it's a fantastic product. I think hockey is the fucking best game. It's such a great game. And it is extraordinarily disappointing to see this.
And for the comment section that are going to say the same shit that they always do, I'm just as disinterested as I was the other dozen times.
I think here's the thing about the comment section is that most of them are on side with this. Most of them are.
I know.
And so for the ones who aren't, I don't care. This is our show. This is our opinion. So fuck off. And I think I would say this. The other thing is more disappointing news. However, maybe less important. The cap is only going up by $1 million. Next year.
What a fucking transition.
Gary suspects that the cap will jump $4+ million. Mm-hmm. And mathematically, it sort of has to. Mm-hmm. That is not really totally surprising. We kind of talked about it on the show, but obviously the NHL was trying to negotiate something, right? They were trying to get something out of the PA. And it's interesting because Frank Saravalli wrote today about Marty Walsh, who is the executive director of the NHLPA. So he's the guy that's going to go head-to-head against Gary and the owners in the next
toe-to-toe
thing. So
they don't know what's coming.
Saravalli says plenty of dismay in the NHLPA circles after new union executive director Marty Walsh appeared in front of the NHL Board of Governors meeting yesterday. It's borderline unprecedented. The last one to do it was Paul Kelly in December 2007. He said to reference the mighty, as seen in the Mighty Ducks eating ice cream with the enemy. And by the way, Paul Kelly was there for like less than 2 years because the players hated him so much. Now, from what I have heard within the NHL, the reason that the players went with Marty Walsh, who has done business with several owners within the NHL, which is bizarre.
Jeremy Jacobs was a donor to his previous political campaign,
right?
Which I don't think is as significant as you guys think.
I think it's significant. I still think it's significant. But regardless of that, the NHL players, at least the ones that were invested in this, which is very few, NHLPA is one of the least followed, least looked after,
least relevant
players associations in professional sports because the star players don't care. Basically, they went with this guy because they don't want to fight in the next thing. They just want a continuation of the way things are. They want a guy who's going to be buddies with Gary, and they think that the soft approach to negotiation in 4 years is going to be the one that wins. Mm-hmm. And I'm telling you, Gary will cancel a season before he lets you get your way. We've seen it 3 times now.
Yeah, and the players are terrified of another lockout.
Right. Here's the thing that I would be terrified of. I'd be terrified of that 50-50 revenue share. The first time they had a full season lockout and a cap, the revenue share was 57-43 in the players' direction. The players had 57% of all hockey-related revenue. After the last lockout, which also lasted a season, or most of a season anyway, we got a piece of it. The Leafs made the playoffs, thank God.
And then what happened?
Let's focus on the positive.
I don't know. I didn't watch the end of it.
That number went down 7%, and now it's a 50-50 split.
Yeah. And he's going to try and tip it the other way.
What do you think? Where do you think the winds are blowing on that one?
Well, so to connect the last two things that we talked about, so there's the they're not going to do the Pride Night jerseys or any of those jerseys, and also the star players with regard to anything to do with the NHLPA, frankly, don't give a fuck. A lot of the feedback that I got to tweeting about the Pride jerseys yesterday was just show up and play. That's literally your job. Show up, do your job, go home. That's what they do. That's what they do.
They already do that.
In all facets. They already do it. They show up to the rink, they play, they fuck off. You can't just show up, play, and fuck off. The NBA players don't just show up, play, and fuck off.
Well, when there's a player negotiation, LeBron and fucking Paul George and all those guys are out in front of the owners going, we're not going to stand for this.
And who was allegedly blacklisted after the 2013 lockout?
Tell us.
Chris Campoli. Gives a shit. Like, all due respect.
Ron Hainsey is one
Why
of the
was
VPs.
he? Why?
Because he was very cantankerous during the CBA negotiations of 2012 and was a marginal NHL player. Like, he had some seasons where he was more than that, but by that time he was marginal. The big guys always just leave it to whoever the fuck. They don't care. They can't be bothered. They're fat and happy. They got their, heated driveways. They got their cottages. They got whatever they want. And they're happy with their lot in life. And why wouldn't they? I mean, they're hockey players. They make a good salary.
More money than you could ever dream of.
More money than you could ever dream of.
Why fight for more?
Why fight for more?
Why fight for fair value?
For the next guy,
Yeah. So for all the people, when we have discussions about wanting a player to take less because of the salary cap or something, this is where you got to be anal. Like, this is where you got to be all over them because the reason they're so screwed is because the Players Association either does nothing or does something and gets their teeth kicked in. And there's this triple hard cap stopping all the players from making any money. I don't make the rules.
There's a long history of players doing what the owners want in these negotiations because later on they want jobs within the NHL. They want to stick around in the club. And there's a lot of guys who refuse to stand up for the rights of their brethren, the players, and they get rewarded in the end by the owner side.
You might not have needed that job working in the NHL if you actually fought while you were a player and made enough money to retire anyway.
A lot of the guys that you see in management now, not all of them, but a lot of them either ended up in broadcast or ended up in managerial circles. There was a group of players that subverted Bob Goodenow in 2004. And they all ended up with executive jobs, or they ended up on TV until they were kicked off. Jeremy Roenick. You know who was a part of that group? Brendan Shanahan.
Yep.
Jerome McGinley.
Unfortunately,
there are a few other names in there that you would be shocked by. And their whole thing was, well, let's save the season.
Real tough, by the way. All of them hard-nosed guys who, during those negotiations, were baby shit.
Yeah. So. It'll be interesting to see with Marty Walsh in this one because the PA elected him to be buddy-buddy with the NHL. So if he's going to be, which by the way goes against collective bargaining, I don't understand that. But if that's the direction they're going, you'll probably see a lot more of this. And
maybe if I give the bully my lunch money, he'll be nice to me.
Appeasement never works.
Maybe. Maybe if I just don't respond, Corey Perry will leave me alone. Nope. Still mauled every shift.
Gary Bettman also said that by September, Andlauer will officially own the Senators. They just need some time to get that done. The Larry Tanenbaum sale, which was announced after our show, he essentially sold a piece of his spot with the
MLS.
How funny is that?
To Omer's, which is another pension fucking plan.
I know. But how funny is that after the way we ended our last show?
What do you mean? I don't remember.
We were talking about Larry Tanenbaum and because we were talking about Bill Foley.
Oh yeah,
how he's the ownership face of the Vegas Golden Knights and how the Leafs don't really have that. And if they do, it's Larry. And now they won't even have Larry. They'll just have telecom.
Pension plan. Part and some Larry.
Yes.
A little Larry.
So there's still going to be a little Larry.
Yeah, there's been some more info now that's been out for a day or so. There's been some more info about the sale. So apparently it's a small portion of his percent.
It's 20% of his percent.
So he owns 25% of MLSE. So the sale they're guessing is around the 5% area of his 25%.
20% of his 25%, right?
Which is 20. Yes, yes.
20-ish, yeah.
Yes,
That's what I
yes.
mean. It was 20% of his share.
Yeah, so about 5% of MLSE
That's
would
where
be
people get-
20%.
That's where I got confused because he owns
yeah.
25%.
Yes. So, and then the other, whatever 75 divided by 2 is, that's Bell and Rogers. And the $8 billion evaluation of MLSE is the thing that everybody kind of looked at and was like, oh my gosh, because that's a huge number. And the last time MLSE was evaluated, I believe, was 2012. There was a bit of a sale there, a portion of it, or there, I forget what reason, but it was $1.1 billion.
Wow.
So in that decade span, MLSE is now $8 billion from $1 billion. And that's only going up based on the way they are compiling the revenue.
And the
what percent of that is the Leafs and what is the Raptors?
the
The
Qatar,
Raptors are worth a lot of money.
they are. They're worth more than the Leafs are.
Yeah.
The Qatar Investment Authority has also their purchase of a minority stake of Monumental Sports and Entertainment, which owns the Wizards and the Capitals, the NBA and the NHL, has been
And the Mystics.
and the Mystics too. Sorry, I'm just reading from The Hill. I guess Ted Leonsis, who is the managing partner, will retain all operational control, just like Larry Tanenbaum will with the Leafs. But as it's part of a $4.05 billion deal. It also includes the WNBA franchise Washington Mystics, Capital One Arena, and NBC Sports Washington. So, I think where people get uncomfortable here, and you better get uncomfortable because the Qatari, the Saudi, all of these public investment funds, which are funds basically run by the royal families and the governing bodies of each of these countries, are going to start to invest in North American sports and entertainment big time because it's big money.
And you say they're going to start to invest. This is the first one.
This is the first one.
This is
this and
the
Live,
first one.
the Live PGA thing, right?
Yeah, this is the first one of the 4 major sports.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. And we're going to see it. I would say within the next couple of years, Liberty Media will be forced to sell by a bully bid by one of these two funds. They already tried to. Liberty Media owns Formula One, owns the Atlanta Braves, owns a whole bunch of stadiums and things. Liberty Media essentially had to turn away an offer that was $3 or $4 billion more than what they are worth. And it's difficult to do that with shareholders because shareholders, the whole point of holding a share in a corporation is to make as much money as you can. And the board, just like with, if you watch the Elon Musk Twitter sale, Elon Musk paid 2 times what Twitter was worth for Twitter. The board had no choice. They were compelled to sell. They have to sell because they have to do what's right by the shareholders. And that's, now the NHL and the NBA have different caps on what investment funds can own. So a minority stake, I think you can get up to 35% in the NBA and 20% in the NHL or something like that. But at the end of the day, get used to this because it's going to happen more and more.
This one's fascinating because the way it's profiled and like the way they're going about it is it's a passive investment. It's just like you buy a stock on your app from this company. It's a passive investment.
You went on Wealthsimple and went, I want to buy the Capitals.
Exactly. That's how it's kind of framed. They bought a passive $4 billion investment in Monumental Sports, which owns all of those organizations plus TV. But you imagine that there's a larger goal here by
Absolutely.
the QIA and the Qataris and getting in. This is their first step. You get your foot in the door. And now that the foot is in the door, it's like the floodgates might open. And
why do you think the World Cup was purchased?
Yeah, and I don't know if it worries me a little or if it's or if that's an unfounded worry, but it's interesting to watch to see how they get into sports here because this is the first step and we know they're going to get into this more and more. And I don't know if it ends up where they own a franchise in one of the 4 major sports, but they have an investment in it. It's the first step and they have in 2 of the major sports now just through this deal with Ted Leonsis. So I don't know.
Yeah, it's a fascinating.
Sports washing is a thing.
Yeah,
like let's not pretend like it's not. So you just hope that their say in this matter doesn't compromise what we have in North American sports.
I put my tinfoil hat on at the end of I think it was yesterday or Monday, and I was talking about the Raptors and the Leafs and why they are so stuck on continuing down the path. And I'm pumped as anybody for Gradey Dick. That's great. But the Raptors should have sold at the trade deadline, and anybody that watches the NBA even passively knows that. The Leafs quote unquote de-emphasizing their core four but continuing on with them, it's an oxymoron. It doesn't exist. However, I wondered if the pending sale of Larry Tanenbaum had something to do with it. Because if the Raptors had sold at the deadline, or the Leafs move a major asset in the core four, you can make the argument, if you're the purchaser, you just devalued the asset.
Okay. That portion of the asset,
because the Raptors, for instance, if they rebuilt, it could be 2-3 years before they're back in the playoffs. So that asset is now devalued. The Raptors are valued this high because they've been in the playoffs of 9 of the last 10 years. They won a championship. They were up until recently a perennial, at least second round team. Well, okay, so that kind of makes sense to me now. I think that's why the direction was taken. That's what I think. I have no proof.
But he sold?
He sold part.
Oh, okay. So no. So that's what I'm saying. So we're done?
Now we're done.
Oh, okay, good. Make the moves that are smart. you can go ahead now. Leafs, Raptors, you heard me. All right.
Go do the move.
Go out and do the good stuff.
The board of governors approved both transactions.
Both deals. Yeah. Arizona, according to Gary Bettman, is exploring alternatives in the greater Phoenix area.
What
Stop me if you've heard this
is
before.
this fucking headline from?
Have you heard this before? This is brand new. They're exploring alternatives mid-season next year. And Jesse, I'm assuming mid-season next year means not this coming season, but the next season.
This 23-24.
Oh, okay.
So they want a plan in place by January.
That is the expected deadline.
What Arizona is going to be doing for the 24-25 season.
Gary reiterated that mullet is a temporary solution and they need a permanent home.
Yeah. In the greater Phoenix area. Hopefully they can solve that by mid next season.
Stan Bowman and Joel Quenneville will have a meeting with Gary Bettman in July. Both have requested those meetings. Gary says he has not prejudged the meeting and is waiting to see what they say and have done in the meantime. Both are looking for reinstatement into the NHL after the Kyle Beach and others, I guess the whole thing was kind of released to the public. Obviously, you're probably, if you listen to this show for long enough, you're well acquainted with the details there. Gary Bettman also says he doesn't have a timeline for the 2018 Hockey Canada investigation. It could be any time in the next couple months. And I want you to know this. It's going to happen after free agency, and it's going to happen probably, my bet, is the Friday before the August long weekend. And the reason you do that is you do a news dump on a Friday. No one fucking wants to work a Friday in the summer, and especially a Friday, a long weekend in the summer when, as a reporter, you only get so much time, right?
I'll be there. Fuck you.
When he was asked the follow up there on so you don't know when this is coming down, and he's like, no, I'm part of this investigation. I'm just waiting for it to get to my desk.
Gary,
and when it gets to my desk, I will react to it.
Gary doesn't know what he can't know, and what I mean by that is he has told whoever's in charge of this, don't tell me.
Yep.
Just make sure it's not during a major NHL event. And not
he probably didn't even say that much because the other guy
doesn't need to.
The other guy knew.
Doesn't need to. There's a reason this has come out in the summer, everybody. Just throwing that out there.
There's only 1 month of the year where basically nothing happens in the NHL, and it's August. So, unfortunately, I think you might have nailed it.
He's waiting till everybody is away.
Yep. We'll be there.
It's fucking...
Wherever I am, I'm bringing my podcast equipment with me.
It's awful.
So, it's going to be... It's something, honestly, behind the scenes here, we've prepared for already. We've had discussions about this, which is wild.
Oh, we're planning, hey, what are we going to talk about in the summer? We know at the drop of a hat it's coming.
Yep.
So,
okay, so moving on from Gary to the Calgary Flames. And the question this morning is, who still wants to play for the Calgary Flames?
Man.
Tyler Toffoli will not resign. Backlund leaning towards not resigning. Lindholm was pitched on a long-term deal. He's indicated he is leaning towards not resigning. And Noah Hannafin has also said, yeah, I'm not going to be back after this next year. That's all according to Frank Saravalli. Now, this means that you would think maybe the Flames are open for business. However... in NHL, in the NBA, those guys would be traded next week. It's so funny to hear already some of the people talking and going, well, you couldn't make 4 trades in the next couple weeks.
That's basically what CJ said.
Yeah, I think those were his exact words.
You said 5.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
well,
there you go.
I thought about this Okay, so the Flames need to decide right now what they want to be. They have to decide. They got to know going into draft weekend. The Flames have an opportunity here with all these players. The most valuable you're going to get, with in terms of trade assets back is right now because they each have a year left. And you have the opportunity. They're all really good players. They're all going to change the lineup and impact the lineup that they are a part of. And I also wanted to throw another name in the hat. We've heard suspiciously little from Jake Markstrom, who's had 2 bad years and 1 glorious year as a Calgary Flame.
They said he's sticking around.
For now.
If you're the Calgary Flames and you have Vladar and Wolf, and you can move Markstrom as well, and the cap is going up next summer, to me it makes a lot of sense to move the old era out, do a quick retool, because they can. You can get a bunch of young, good players, good picks, good prospects, whatever it is you want to go for, and then make a huge splash or two come free agency next year, and you could be right back in it.
Here's the thing. Again, with the hard cap, it's very relevant to this conversation. The best way to build your team is through the draft. The second best way to build your team is through trade. The third best way to build your team is through free agency, right? Mm-hmm. So the cap going up and that being the plan, I think is a terrible plan. Let's think of the way the
trades though. The trades are good.
Yeah, so let's think of the way the Flames got these players. Tyler Toffoli, trade, and they gave up a lot in terms of draft capital for him. Noah Hannafin and Hampus Lindholm. How did they get those players? They had to give up Dougie Hamilton.
Not Hampus.
Did I say Hampus? Elias. Sorry.
Yeah.
Damn it. And then who else we got? Michael Backlund, who they drafted rather. And he's 35. I mean, he's the one who makes the most sense to trade.
Yeah, because he probably wants to win a cup.
Probably wants to win a cup, but also if you keep Hannafin, you keep Lindholm, you keep Toffoli. Those guys have a lot of good years ahead of them. Toffoli's probably a little older than you'd think, but he ain't 35. The Flames are not. They're in such a tumultuous situation. Craig Conroy's been there since 2014. So this isn't a matter of a new guy comes in and everyone's like, I don't really give a shit about the new guy. He was one of Treliving's first hires. And I know that because I did a video on Brad Treliving, and that will be coming out very soon.
Why doesn't anyone want to play there?
Well, the main reason no one wanted to play there was fired, though. In Daryl Sutter, who Toffoli won a cup with, by the way. So maybe he was a pro Sutter guy. 1 or 2 cups with. But the Flames, I believe, had as many points as the Florida Panthers last year. And they got real shitty goaltending from a goalie who should not be a real shitty goaltender. All that to say, I don't think the Flames should blow it up because they're garbage.
They're not garbage, though. It's just Craig Conroy's main statement when he became general manager is, we want players who want to be Flames. Mm-hmm. None of these players, except for Markstrom, want to be Flames. They've told you that.
So you're going to, CJ said, they can't just go out and make 5 trades. They're going to have to find a way to do at least 2 or 3. You're going to have to.
Or you're the hottest team come trade deadline.
Yeah. Listen, not everyone wants to play everywhere. And all 7 Canadian teams struggle to recruit. They just do. And the Flames are no different. So
what do you think the chances are Huberdeau and Kadri haven't asked for trades too, and we just don't know about it?
Wow.
Kadri would be fascinating on account of, he denied a trade to Calgary, as was his right when he was with the Leafs. Not because he didn't like Calgary, but it was because he wanted to stay in Toronto. Mm-hmm. Right? So it's possible. I wouldn't write anything off, but they have such a difficult job. And I will throw it out there. All teams or all GMs who are newly hired love acquiring guys from their former team. Treliving traded for Tyler Toffoli. Treliving traded for Elias Lindholm. Treliving traded for Noah Hannafin.
Yep.
And I believe
Signed Markstrom.
Yeah, signed Markstrom, signed
he's going
Kadri, traded for Huberdeau and signed him, traded for Weegar and signed him. The only one in this conversation he had nothing to do with, I think he signed a contract with him, is I think Backlund is so old that he was a Daryl Sutter draft pick.
Like an 08-09.
Yeah, like a while ago. So there's some spiciness there potentially with the Leafs and Flames. But again, these guys got to want to play in Canada. And I'm not sure they do. DeBrincat, I think, is a really interesting idea. But again, he's got to want to play in Canada. Or, as Julian McKenzie rightfully pointed out, because you might be thinking, well, you don't got to make a decision right now. You can go into next season. And as Julian McKenzie pointed out, you put yourself at risk of making the exact same mistake you did with Johnny Gaudreau.
Yep.
And I don't even know if Johnny Gaudreau was a mistake. I mean, you won the division.
I think that Gaudreau was a mistake because they didn't get to his number until right before the deadline. Murray Edwards and Brad Treliving, and there's been some debate about who was more in that direction versus who wasn't, and I can guarantee you it was Murray Edwards. They wanted to get Johnny Gaudreau at a hometown discount, and Johnny Gaudreau said no. You're going to pay me this. And then finally, at the last second, they could have had him the summer before and he was willing to sign an extension. But they so lowballed him, he's like, okay, I'm just going to not. So I'm just not even going to engage.
It's a copycat league. We are now in the era of signing players to extensions the moment they're eligible.
Yeah.
Right? Nathan McKinnon, Austin Matthews is all the talk. William Nylander very quickly crept into all that. There have been a ton of guys signed a year ahead of time, and Calgary's going to have a really tumultuous summer.
I actually
difficult summer.
See, for me, this is exciting for them.
Oh, it's exciting
because they finally the players have made the decision on what their direction is going to be. So you need to accept the reality. And rather than, because I've heard some things, well, if they kept them and they have a good year, maybe they'll change their mind. These guys are too old to except for Noah Hannafin, really go, oh, let's change our mind. And yeah, we think we can win a cup. I really don't think the mix is right in Calgary. I think we know that, even with the new head coach. Mm-hmm. They need to get some scoring in that lineup. Why not take the opportunity? You're going to build an arena. The political party you needed to get you the money from the citizens to pay for your fucking arena it's going to be ready in 2 or 3 years. Why not be on a Stanley Cup trajectory for then? And, play out your last few years in the Saddle Dome with a young, fun, developing team. That to me is why do NHL teams love to swim upriver? I don't understand it. The players have told you, we don't want to be here. So figure out why. I would love to know why these guys don't want to be here.
What's wrong with Calgary specifically that all these guys don't want to be?
Well, none of them are going to be there for the new arena.
Is it the owner? Is it Don Maloney? Because the coach and GM are gone.
Well, it's funny you bring up Maloney. If Calgary is going to pull this off, everyone in that front office has to earn their salary. So Craig Conroy's got to be working the phones like crazy. Dave Notice just got there. Doesn't matter. I know a bunch of the guys in the league. Work your phone. Don Maloney, work your phone. Mm-hmm. Everyone else in that organization. Dave Notice, ironically, with regard to Calgary, when he was the assistant general manager with the Leafs, he was credited with largely structuring the Dion Phaneuf deal. So I wonder in Calgary if right now they're like, all right, Craig, you're in charge of this. Dave, you're in charge of this. Don, you're in charge of this. They're going to have to find a way to make these moves.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it sucks to work for Murray Edwards.
Probably.
Unless you're one of his guys, and then you're there forever. They just fired the general manager walked after being there for a decade.
Mutually agreed to part ways.
Yes, yeah. Which meant I'm not working with Sutter.
And then he got fired.
Yeah. I think that this could be very exciting for the Calgary Flames. Although I do want to say, I loved Calgary when I lived there. I really enjoyed it.
I don't think it's the city.
It's not that it can't be the city.
No.
The arena's old, but they're getting a new one finally. What is it?
Yeah.
That they need to identify and then build a new team.
It can't just be, it's Canada. You know who's had a much easier time recruiting guys recently? Oilers.
Yeah.
Because everyone's like, Jesus Christ, they might win a cup.
And they have a nice arena. They've got amazing fans. It's funny. The Flames, if they did it well enough, they could get the next Connor McDavid in the draft.
Ooh.
Right? If you really strip it back, wouldn't it be fun to have young Connor McDavid versus older Connor McDavid?
So yes. Now, here is a very interesting thought that a number of Montreal Canadiens fans tweeted at me yesterday. Who owns the Calgary Flames 2025 first round pick? Answer, not the Calgary Flames. It's Montreal.
Ooh, right.
I think it might have been the Toffoli trade.
Might have been. Yeah, the first, fourth, and the fifth that went that way.
Like, oh boy.
Sean Monahan.
Oh, it's
Oh man.
Oh, that's rough.
The Calgary Flames acquired the greatest player of all time, future considerations, in exchange for sending Sean Monahan a first-round pick. And the conditions on that first-round pick are, if Calgary's 2024 first-round pick is between 20 and 32, Montreal can take that pick instead.
Brad, if you pull that shit in Toronto,
Yikes, dude.
I'm not even going to say it.
In the event Calgary receives Florida's 2025 first-round pick, so there's another trade where Calgary could also receive Florida's pick. Oh my God, there's so many scenarios here. I don't even know if it's worth reading it.
Is that from Matthew Tkachuk?
If both Calgary and Florida's picks are not top 10, Montreal will receive the better of the Calgary and Florida 2025 first-round picks. Result TBD. If Calgary's pick is top 10 and Florida's pick is not top 10, Montreal receives Florida's pick. Scenario in the event of Calgary does not receive Florida's first round pick, and then there's a whole bunch of other stuff.
Oh my!
So it's up in the air what first round pick they're getting.
I know the Habs have been pretty bad, but the second Kent Hughes flips that switch, I think he's done a really good job in Montreal.
I really hope that the Flames commit to this, because it could be really exciting. And I think the reason I bring up Markstrom, and I'm going to bring him up again, is Connor Hellebuck's on the market. And any team that swings and misses on him, would you not call the Calgary Flames and just see? He's, Markstrom would probably could be considered like quote unquote overpaid. Could you get him on a discount?
You can't trade the one guy who said this week, I want to stay here. Like there's so many other guys.
Or you could do Vegas and be like, fuck it. We got to do what's best for the team. It's nice that you signed here, but it's a new regime and it's a new time.
I'd love to.
A lot of players want to stay in Vegas that didn't get to stay.
I'd love to. Well, I think the hardest job in Calgary might not be any of the guys who make trades. It's Jordan Sigalet and Jason LaBarbera. Jason LaBarbera is the goalie coach.
Yeah.
And Jordan Sigalet is the director of goaltending.
Okay, now why would that be a problem?
Well, because Jacob Markstrom, is basically what either wins you or costs you games. And he has to be better. He was awful. He was dreadful last year. He was a Vezina candidate the year before. There are a couple years you could argue he should have been a Vezina candidate. His last year in Vancouver, for example. But it was last year in Vancouver, Vezina caliber. First year in Calgary, bum. Second year in Calgary, Vezina candidate. Last year, bum.
It's the Pecorine disease.
Dude. And to a degree, Sergei Bobrovsky.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
You gotta figure that guy out, or there's no point figuring out the rest of the team.
Yeah, that's a good point. It's a good point. It's fascinating. There's some really interesting moves that could happen this summer. Winnipeg and Calgary could be fire sales.
Yep.
Wow.
John Gibson's name's still out there.
Vancouver should be, but they won't. They're good. They're a good team.
It's gonna suck this summer when it's just a mass exodus of players, of good NHL players leaving Canada.
Here, prediction that I'm gonna throw out there. The Canucks still need to free up a little bit of cap space. The Leafs just got Shane Doan in their front office. I think they're gonna take a run at Connor Garland, because they would know each other from their time in Arizona.
Oh, okay.
Because supposedly the Canucks are potentially looking at trading them. And I think the Leafs have been interested. I think they take a run.
Another part of the exodus in Calgary is Mitch Love, who I believe was coach of the year in the AHL for the Wranglers. He is leaving the organization to join former Leafs assistant Spencer Carberry as an assistant with the Washington Capitals. Mitch Love was apparently one of the guys that The Flames really wanted, or they were really looking at to be their head coach. I think they wanted him to be an assistant coach. But when he left, we saw yesterday, Mark Savard is rejoining the team he broke into the NHL with as an assistant coach with the Flames, which is very cool.
Pretty cool.
Real savvy.
Yeah. And then he seems like a great guy. I feel like the Flames just need a bit of a culture reset too. Like it was kind of dark and sad. Now you got Craig Conroy, super positive. Mark Savard, as you know, Steve personally.
Yeah. Oh,
he's a great guy.
By the way, if you're wondering who Mark Savard is, he was on ice surfing once.
He also gave you shit about the way you put on your equipment, and
I put it on wrong.
Yeah, and
I put
and
the
how you
elbow
tape your
pads on the
stick.
wrong arms.
He's a fun guy. Have we had him on this show?
No.
We should.
You did a video with him.
That's what it was.
I learned to tape sticks by watching his YouTube videos.
Right. So it's good to see him moving up. Calgary Flames, very, very interesting. CJ was reporting on Insider Trading on TSN that I guess the door is still open for Michael Bunting to return to the Leafs, at least from Bunting's side. But I think that the Leafs are pretty sure that he's not gonna come back because they think the market's gonna be, quote, busy for him. What? Do you know something?
No. What I do know is Milan Lucic is on the market, and people keep throwing his name in for the Leafs. Mm-hmm. Corey Perry is an unrestricted free agent.
I would love to see him be a Leaf.
Fuck it, get both.
Lucic and Perry?
Fuck it.
Yeah, all right. Why not? Fuck it.
Fuck it. Get both.
It's a long season. You need depth.
Fuck it.
I'm with you.
Another guy who's a free agent. Shane Doan would know him from Arizona. Noted Alan Walsh client, Boko Imama. Fuck it. Get face puncher.
Knock your teeth in line.
Fuck it.
Does it even matter that they can win a face-off? I don't even think any of those guys are centers.
No. Fuck it.
Okay. Yeah, they're not after the puck anyway. They're after your teeth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
The tooth fairy line.
I like that.
The tooth fairy line. You don't even. Yeah. Just throw 3 wingers out there. Fuck it.
Another name that's come up is
You're not going to call anything. All right. We're going to make the whole league pay for it the whole fucking year.
I like that. Well, they call things in the regular season though.
Yeah. Call this.
Another name that's come up is Oliver Ekman-Larsson. And what's interesting about Oliver Ekman-Larsson, not with the Leafs, I don't think he's been linked specifically to any team, but he's able to talk to
I was
everybody.
about to start screaming at the top of my lungs.
What was interesting on Insider Trading is Darren Dreger said, listen, everybody says this guy is going to be like a depth value pickup and he'll come for cheap. But the thinking is that the market on him might be hotter than people expect. And maybe the number comes in around $2 million a year. And I have to say, listen, it's not the $2 million a year that would scare me, although that's a lot. It's the term that would scare me. If you even go Tucker Poolman with this guy, which is 4 years at $2.5 million per, you're fucked. You don't know what kind of health this guy has. You don't know how much he's got left in the tank. To me, the best thing that he can do is become a valuable member in a small role with a great team and then make his money. And but somebody's going to overpay for Oliver Ekman-Larsson. I know it.
I wonder if there's a cockiness out there where people look at how he played and they're like, yeah, but that's the Canucks.
Oh, 100%.
It won't be our team. No,
Galaxy.
it'll be good on our team.
It's Galaxy brain. And that's not to diminish him as a player or what he was. This guy has had loads of injuries.
I wonder if he's this generation's Vinny LeCavalier.
Oh, where he gets double bought out?
Yeah, well, he's a really good player. All right, here's way too much money. Whoa. Bought out, free agent. All right, here's too much money again. But less, but still too much.
Yeah.
And maybe he gets bought out again. Vinny LeCavalier, I think, at one point was being paid by 3 NHL teams.
Yeah, it was like Chicago, Philly, and Tampa?
Tampa and Philly for sure. I forget the other.
Okay.
Yeah.
I remember that. That was like he's making bank. Good for him.
He did well.
So those are the couple of the names that sort of came up. Also, a few weeks ago, Damon Severson becomes a Columbus Blue Jacket. 8 years, $625, I believe, is what he's getting paid every year. If that's what he gets paid, and by the way, for Leaf fans that haven't been paying attention, he is Jake Gardiner. He's just younger Jake Gardiner.
A little bit. Oh, no, Leaf fans know him. He scored an overtime goal for them.
Oh, yeah, he
It
did.
was the game against the Devils where...
Yeah, he did. You're right.
I think Nylander was credited with the goal, but Severson scored it.
That's right. I like that. Hey, that's true. Severson, so Jake Gardner had his good quality and his qualities that drove you nuts. Severson does too. What does a guy like Dmitry Orlov make? Unrestricted.
Man, the numbers they're talking about for this class are bonkers.
For a flat cap year too?
Yeah, and we're going to learn if anyone has learned their lesson from 2016.
And 2016 is considered the worst free agency signing.
Well, just some of the worst contracts league-wide. There are some where you give it a mulligan because of medical issues, Kyle Okposo, but like Andrew Ladd's contract was a really bad one of the more notably bad ones. Louis
Eriksson, 6 years, $36 million. Milan Lucic with the Oilers, 7 years, $42 million. David Backes goes from the Blues to the Bruins, 5 years, $30 million. That's $6 a year. Andrew Ladd from the Blackhawks to the Islanders, 7 years, $38.5. Some of the other really bad ones, actually, Michael Bodker from the Avalanche to the Sharks, 4 years, $16 million. Franz Nielsen from the Islanders to the Red Wings for 6 years, $31.5. There was Troy Brouwer, that Flames deal, 4 years, $18 million.
Who could forget the Brouwer play?
Lee Stempniak, 2 years, $5 million for Lee Stempniak.
Huh?
Yeah, no, 2.5. 2 year total. Even like Jamie McGinn signing with the Coyotes, 3 years, $10 million.
Dude,
what?
Not
per. Dale Weiss, 2.35 for 4 years in a row with the Flyers. Dutch Gretzky.
Almost none of these guys finished those contracts with the team they signed it with.
The one who did, and he's the highest signing and the best signing that year, Steven Stamkos. 8 years, $68 million. With the Tampa Bay Lightning. Don't you just hate it?
That was sad. That was very sad. So, bad free agent class that allowed for a bunch of crazy moves to happen. Because that was the half hour of doom or whatever you call
Wasn't that? So that was Hall.
It was Stamkos extension, Hall for Larson,
right,
and Subban for Weber. Within about 30 minutes of each other. I put down my phone and then was like, Jesus Christ, Nick Kipper just tweeted 3 times.
What's the there's Sportsnet big read on that. I think it's like the 34 minutes that changed hockey or something like that. It's a fantastic piece.
Oh, it's wild. Yeah. So this year they're, flat cap, so there's all these rumors about all these wild trades, and then like Dmitry Orlov, that's a really good defenseman.
Yes, very good.
Who's gonna get too much money because that's how free agency works. Ivan Barbashev. That's a really good defenseman. Damn it. Nick Robertson treatment. Ivan Barbashev. That's a really good forward. Really good forward.
Yeah.
My bad. Jeff Merrick, I think it was, on 32 Thoughts, was talking about him getting like Valerie Nikushkin money.
Yep.
I think it's important to note
Crazy.
the Nikushkin contract sucks.
Yep.
Dude, like 8 years, 6.25. Like, even if he gets like 7 times 5.5 or something like that.
You're better off trying to find the next Ivan Barbashev.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Instead of signing Barbashev.
Yeah. Who else? Like, Bunting might have screwed it up in the playoffs, but like, he's probably still going to get paid pretty well. Would anyone be shocked to see him get like 4 times 4? Something like that?
No.
It's a tough class. Real tough class.
And it's 23 minutes that shook the hockey world.
23
That's
minutes.
crazy.
By
Trade
Elliot.
is 1 for 1.
Yeah, by Elliot Friedman. It's a good read. If you got a second.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be an interesting free agent year.
Man, so Subban, the summer he was traded to the Predators, I got to do I got to cover this thing called G Camp. It was this camp that Gatorade put on, and they invited, lots of hockey stars. Marie-Philippe Poulin, Haley Wickenheiser, Sidney Crosby, Max Pacioretty. I think Johnny Gaudreau was there, but I never saw him. And Subban was there. And he gets on the ice, and what was super weird about it, and everyone was sort of muttering like, ew, that looks weird, is he was wearing like his Pred stuff, like Pred's pants and gloves, and we were all just like, no, that's weird, that's wrong. That's weird and wrong. I don't like it. And
he was a great predator.
I know, but now that I'm looking at that photo, like it's weird to imagine that ever happened.
He was fantastic when he was there until the very end. Yeah, whenever he was healthy, he was a great defenseman for them. And yeah, those New Jersey years are some to forget.
That back.
Yeah, I just gave it.
Yeah.
The back's a bad one, man. That's a tough one.
Yeah.
I'll die on this hill. Why did Patrice Bergeron play in the Florida series?
Yeah.
Herniated disc? No, that's a non-starter.
Well, I mean, this is a guy that played with a collapsed lung, so I'm not totally shocked by that.
Yeah.
A weird story, crazy story that this is still happening out of London, Ontario. The London Nationals of the OHA, their owner has been suspended for 2 years following an investigation into alleged harassment, bullying, and misconduct. Apparently, he offered a bounty on a player. And this used to happen, by the way. This was pretty regular in the NHL of the 60s, 70s, and 80s. So what had happened is, the coach would be like, hey, I'll give you $50 if you fight so-and-so or if you hit so-and-so. This happened throughout the junior ranks as well.
I was about to say, so what's the OHA?
The OHA is part of Hockey Canada. And it's sort of a...
Junior?
Yeah, it's a junior league, junior B. The London Nationals are a junior B team.
Dude, what the hell?
And so this owner has been suspended. Paul Duarte is his name, or Duarte. He's been suspended for 2 years. This apparently happened. He allegedly offered for a London player to target a skater on the Kokomo Kings in the fall of 2021. There was a very long investigation. The bounty amounted to something in the neighborhood of $100. And again, this is something that has happened in hockey for years. I believe it happened in football too. If I'm not mistaken, there was some NFL team that was busted for it 20 years ago. But obviously, they got rid of that. It was pretty par for the course for a long, long time. And now they don't allow that anymore because,
Well, they don't even allow like money on the board. Like,
oh, yeah, no.
Hey, whoever gets the OT winner or whatever against my former team gets, $1,000 or whatever. They don't even allow that.
Yeah.
And in that situation, no one's getting hurt. Whoa.
Yeah, pretty crazy. Remember, junior B, children.
So
Children.
So you say bounty. A bounty to what?
Target the other player.
Target, like, was there a specific goal in mind?
Well, the investigation naturally has not fully been released, but what we know is that he was offering a bounty to target a player on the Kokomo Kings.
Wow.
Yeah.
I had not heard that story, Adam.
Oh, it's crazy. It's a crazy story.
Junior B.
Yeah, London.
That's awful.
Yeah, well, it is. And I think, but again, I think with the awful part about it, and the thing that would shock you again is that this is normal, or it was. So this is something, listen, do you think this owner who was suspended for 2 years, do you think this is the first time that he's done this?
First time he got
Do
caught.
you think he created the whole bounty system? No. This is something he learned, and this is something he was passing down, and this is something for sure happened before.
Wow.
For sure. That's my opinion. I can't prove it. I should say that.
Allegedly.
But yes, usually this behavior is not created out of nowhere. It's learned. And so there you have it. I thought that was an interesting story and something that if you have a kid in hockey, you may want to pay attention to because this stuff still happens.
Imagine being the parent on the other end.
Oh, if you find out that's your kid?
Yeah. So a grown-ass man paid a child to go attack your child.
Mm-hmm. I'd be targeting
Like,
that guy's.
Jesus. Well, when you put it that way.
Yeah, no, I think we haven't even boiled down to what's on the other end of this bounty. Is that there's another child that this grown man who has a lot of money is trying to pay a child to go attack.
No, I will throw it out there just for the buts. It's possible they were a legal adult just because you can be 18, 19, 20.
That's true.
It doesn't make it much better.
It doesn't. There's still, okay, a 20-year-old. Let's go to the max age.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, the man is paying a 20-year-old to go attack another kid on the ice. That's awful.
Holy shit.
This is horrendous.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know if you saw this picture of Artemi Panarin. I'm going to send it to you, Jesse.
I mean, bald Narin.
That's
Hey.
right. So Artemi Panarin shaved his head completely. It's like Walter White, like bald, cue ball. According to Match TV, which is a Russian outlet, Panarin made the decision to shave his head to, quote, reset a bad stage of his career and remove all evil forces that may have been in his hair.
Okay.
That dude, like we talked about Matthews, like letting go. Like Panarin had a big, thick head of hair.
Oh, yeah. Looked good on him, too.
Is that Kuznetsov?
I don't know. Is
Next
that?
one?
Is it?
It might be.
I don't know Kuznetsov's face.
No, it's just a guy who looks a lot like him, I think.
So here's the thing. Panarin had a great year in New York this year, but was like he had 92 points this year. He was crazy. But in the playoffs, he all but disappeared. 2 assists.
I was thinking about Kaprizov. Never mind. I was going to say I was never going to forgive Panarin for getting injured for the last 2 weeks of the season, but that was Kaprizov.
Yeah.
So ignore me.
The playoffs mess with your head, man. In Toronto, we're talking about trading the core 4. The Blackhawks had a bad loss to the Predators in 2016 and basically ruined their franchise. And Akira Schmid just made one of the league's most highly paid players shave his head. The playoffs, man. They literally mess with your head.
This isn't to do with hockey, but I thought you'd find this story very interesting anyway. What do you know about Neymar?
The soccer player?
Yeah.
He's a big, enormous diver.
Yeah.
He's Brazilian.
Plays for PSG.
He won an Olympic gold medal.
One of the most talented players on the pitch. Jesse, what do you know about Neymar?
He's a stupid cheater.
Oh,
cheater?
he's a cheater.
Is that where you're going with this?
No, I actually wasn't going. What did he cheat?
That's the biggest news out of Neymar this week.
Oh no, I liked this news better. But what's the cheating news? I want to know.
On his Instagram right now is a public apology to his girlfriend or wife or whatever because he cheated on her.
That cheating.
Oh, I thought he cheated at soccer.
I was like, what did he deflate?
You mean the worst cheating?
Oh my gosh, let me go. I thought that's what you're bringing up. I was like, why are we talking about this?
No.
What did you want to bring up?
I wanted to bring up Neymar because he is so powerful. He has changed the rules of Formula One.
The soccer player.
Yeah. Now Neymar, if you ask him to do something, will probably intentionally do the other thing. He's what's known.
Don't cheat on me.
He's yeah, exactly.
And then he goes and does the opposite.
He cheated on his pregnant girlfriend, and he released yesterday. There's like it's like 50 paragraphs long. This public apology about how he's sorry and he messed up. Like this is it's on the screen right now.
I think this actually plays perfectly into what I'm about to talk about.
Doesn't apply
Because
at all?
Neymar is known for his arrogance, his obtuseness, and depending upon what side of the coin you fall on, he's considered an asshole.
Yeah, I don't know. Does he think this is gonna work?
Well, okay. I was wondering with these public apologies. Remember when Letterman cheated on his wife too? And they like come out and have these public apologies. I'm like, did your partner ask for this? Because I can tell you this, man. I've been cheated on. I don't think I'd want a public apology. I don't think I'd want. That's not bringing me back.
Yeah,
man.
that's
not like,
enough.
oh, yeah.
That's enough. I don't need that.
Yeah.
Do you want me to read some of it?
No thanks.
Yeah, I do want you to read that.
So English isn't his first language, but he wrote it in English. So some of it's not.
Or he paid somebody to write it in English. Don't tell me he wrote this himself. Give me a fucking break.
No, this is the
guy
words
makes like $200 million a year.
Words of Neymar. I cheated on my girlfriend. I do this for both of you and your family. Justify the unjustable. No need to, but I need you in our lives. I saw how much you were exposed, how much you suffered with all of this, and how much you want to be by my side. And I stand beside you. Error. I did wrong with you all.
He wrote this, Adam.
I risk saying I'm wrong every day, on and off the pitch. Only I solve my mistakes in personal life at home, in my intimacy with my family and friends. All of this hit one of the most special people in my life, the woman I dreamed of following beside me, mother of my child. Has it touched his family, which is my family today? She touched her intimacy in such a special moment that is maternity.
I'm wildly uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Brew, which
Just wildly uncomfortable.
right? I don't want to know this, Neymar. I'll keep
This is
Yeah. Public apologies after cheating is making it worse. I'm running
moment
away.
of any of our weeks.
He says, I already apologized for my mistakes, for unnecessary exposure, but I feel obligated to come publicly reaffirm that. If a private matter has become public, the apology has to be public.
No,
No, it doesn't.
not true.
Can't imagine without you. I don't know if we'll work out, but today, you're sure I want to try. That line sounds like, remember when Ryan in The Office is trying to get Kelly back towards the end of the entire series? And he's like, I don't know if I'm going to love you tomorrow or the next day, but I know that in this moment I love you. That sounds an awful lot like that, Neymar.
I also know if there's any Portuguese speakers in the audience, you may understand why there are some bad past participles and, coming in.
English isn't his first language.
Yeah.
I know
exactly.
2 words. Obrigado, which I believe is thank you, and mufaka, which is knife.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, every kid in elementary school knew mufaka.
I didn't.
It sounds
you know
like
what?
a swear.
Oddly enough, I didn't go to school with any Portuguese kids.
What?
I had like, it was like every other country, but not Spanish, not Portuguese, not even Italian. And I think it's probably because you guys were all at the Catholic school.
Producer Nick is going to kick your ass.
Oh, man. You bring up Portugal, producer Nick, he gets heated.
What was the Neymar thing that's not him cheating on his pregnant girlfriend?
Well, it's interesting. Neymar's, the Formula One rules changed the day before the Neymar cheating scandal broke.
Yesterday. So 2 days ago.
So this is 2 days ago. This is fucking wild. I'm bringing this up. I thought this was just going to be a quick note and we'd be out.
I thought you were talking about Neymar cheating on his friends. I was like, why are we talking about this?
So, what you're seeing more and more at races is
Cheating soccer players.
you're seeing players and athletes and celebrities from other arenas show up for Formula One races, and they like to. If you're one of the cool, rich, fabulous and famous people, you're walking on the road next to the cars right before they're ready to take off. Like they're starting the cars up. And the drivers are in there, and Martin Brundle's out there with his microphone for Sky Sports F1, talking to the celebrities, see who he can talk to, which, that's a very amazing, cool, but very rich person thing to do. And anyway, what they do is they get everybody out of the way. The cars do what's called a formation lap, and they go around the track once, and then they stop, and then they do the 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, kick off the race. Neymar... basically, he loitered a bit too long on the Spanish Grand Prix grid. The FIA says F1 is set to limit celebrity access as a result.
So he ruined it for everybody?
The sport of
and then cheated on his girlfriend?
Well, probably at the same time. The VIP guests, you're allowed to be on the grid in the run-up to the race, but you're supposed to be cleared out several minutes before the race started. Neymar was still on the grass on the side of the grid when the formation lap started. So when the cars were starting to drive, prompting the FIA to investigate it. And they've said, okay, this is not just a Formula One issue, but it's also a Formula E and World Endurance issue. We cannot have people on the grass when the cars start moving. And Neymar refused to leave. They asked him to leave. He refused to leave. So now he's wrecked it for everybody. And I think there should be a public apology for that. That I'm open to.
Oh, he's not going to be allowed at the race, Neymar. Sorry.
Oh, no. Boo.
terrible.
What?
Boo. Like as in anymore, some...
Neymar.
Oh, no.
That's how my Scottish in-laws would
that's
say no
not
more.
good.
That's worse than his public apology.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
What's worse, cheating on your pregnant girlfriend or ruining the paddock?
I think
Vote now on your phone.
Anyway,
You have
yeah.
that number you could text in your thoughts.
Yeah. Some big L's this week for Neymar. Some big L's. Really big L's.
Wow.
Anyway, we'll wrap the show up there.
One thing. We always talk about how much hockey is awesome as a sport, but leagues try and ruin it. The Coachella Valley Firebirds deserve a shout out for their inaugural season. They're the AHL affiliate of the Seattle Kraken. This is their first ever season, and they took over Coachella Valley, and people there absolutely love the team. They went all the way to the finals in their first season.
Game 7 overtime.
Game 7 overtime. Shout out the Hershey Bears, and name escapes me who scored the games.
Mike Vecchione.
Scored the Game 7 overtime victory to capture the Calder Cup. Unreal. That's a historic moment, but shout out the losing team, the Coachella Valley Firebirds, who averaged 9,000 fans throughout the playoffs, which is unreal for
great.
an AHL franchise. They had a couple sellouts in there as well. That's over 100,000 fans over the course of 13 games. It seems like that town loves this team, and hockey's growing in these non-traditional markets. So shout out everybody down there who loves the Firebirds.
And important to shout out Vecchione, obviously, with the Game 7 OT winner for the Calder Cup. That's the stuff dreams are made of. But the captain of the Hershey Bears, Dylan McElrath.
Oh, no way.
After we talked about him last episode,
I had no idea.
Yeah.
I had no
unreal.
idea that's where he goes
out
out.
and wins the Calder Cup.
I guess they felt the McElrath that night.
They felt the McElrath. Calder Cup
What are the
champion,
odds?
Dylan McElrath.
What are the odds?
That's
He's
crazy.
the first person to take the trophy.
That's great.
After we talking about it on a
It is
random
very
episode.
us for that to happen,
Yeah.
by the way.
Man, dude's such a bust. Next day, champion. Champion.
Well, listen, we hope you have a fantastic weekend. It's going to, everything's ramping up now. All the fun, all the excitement of trades and drafting and free agency. This next week is going to be crazy. Plus, we have...
Go get your tickets to see us in Nashville.
Yeah.
SBN.ca/events.
There it is.
The Steve Dangle Podcast.
Powered by Sports Interaction. Want to bet?
Follow the guys on Twitter at Steve_Dangle, at Adam WYLDE, and at Jesse Blake. Connection complete.